Hello and welcome to another video from Accounting How. In this video we will be looking at activity-based costing and how to calculate the unit cost of a product using activity-based costing. If you haven't already done so, please remember to subscribe to the channel, like the videos and share the videos, and you can also follow us on Twitter, or X as it's now known, at Accounting How. Let's get stuck into a question then. Here we have the question that we're going to model. Interior Limited manufactures two products, Brill and Great. The following information relates to the direct costs per unit. And we can see there they've given us information about direct materials and direct labour. The company uses activity-based costing and provides the following information about cost pools and cost drivers. So a quick look at this table, we can see there are two cost pools. A cost pool is a group of related overheads. So they appear to have a stores or a stores department, which is costing £14,700 per month. And they have determined that the cost driver is the number of requisitions. So the logic would be that every time a request is made for some stores, perhaps some materials, they're calling that the requisition when the request is made, and in those requisitions are between them causing this cost pool of £14,700. And they've given us the number of requisitions needed per unit for each of the products. So to make 1 unit of Brill, it requires 4 requisitions, and for Great, 2 requisitions. And then we've got a similar structure for quality control, far higher cost pool of £71,400 per month, and the driver is the number of inspections, the number of quality inspections they're doing on each product, and we can see there the number of inspections that are made per unit whilst they are making these products. Finally, they give us the monthly production levels for each product, and they are asking us to calculate the unit cost of each product. You'll see over on the right hand side then I've drawn a simple table, and I've got 2 columns, one for Brill and one for Great, and so now I'm going to begin to work through the answer. So the first thing I'm going to do is calculate the direct cost. The direct cost is the most straightforward part of costing because it's just a case of working out how much it costs in materials, labour, maybe royalties, that could be another direct cost, although there aren't any in this question, for each of the products. So you can see then direct materials, Brill. On the left hand side it says Brill needs 3 kilograms of materials at £2 per kilogram. So in total that's going to cost £6. And then to make 1 unit of Great, the table on the left shows me I need 4 kilograms at £3 per kilogram. So 4 times 3, that's going to cost me £12. Then I can do the same for direct labour. Brill takes 4 hours of labour time, direct labour time, and the workers are paid £12 per hour. So 4 12s, £48. And then to make 1 unit of Great, it's 3.5 hours of labour, it says, at £14 per hour, which is going to cost £49. And I can add those up, and that will give me the direct cost per unit. So 54 for Brill and 61 for Great. Now I come to the part where I need to use activity-based costing. And activity-based costing is all to do with the overheads, the indirect costs, and how we find a way to assign these overheads, or these cost pools, to each of the cost units. So what have we got first? We've got the stores. So I need to work out then how much of the store's overhead is going to be assigned to each of the units. And we've got £14,700 of stores overheads that we need to deal with. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to calculate how much it costs per requisition. So my formula, I'll show you here in my workings. On the top of the formula, you can see I've put the cost pool, which is £14,700. And then I'm going to divide that by the total number of cost drivers. So if I go back to the table on the left, to make a Brill, it says there are 4 requisitions per unit, and at the bottom of the question it tells me they're planning on making 6,500 units of brill. So to make all of the brills, it will be 6,500 units times 4 requisitions per unit. That's how many requisitions will be needed in total for all of the brills. And then I've done the same thing for the grates. They're planning on making 8,000 grates, and they need 2 requisitions per unit, so that'll be a total of 8,000 times 2. So that grand total underneath on my formula is the total number of requisitions that will be needed to make all of the products. And you can see once I divide that into the cost pool, the 14,700, it tells me that effectively it's costing 35 pence per requisition. And then using that, I can then, so that's the cost per driver, we can call that. Cost per driver, 35p per requisition. And now I can put that back into the cost unit. So a brill needs 4 requisitions per unit. So 35 pence per requisition times 4 requisitions means the brill needs to be assigned £1.40 towards the requisitions. And then for the grate, they only need 2 requisitions, so that's just going to be 70 pence. And then I'm going to do the same thing for quality control. So the quality control overhead then, working 2, and same idea, on the top of the formula I'm going to put the cost pool, the 71,400, and then I'm dividing that by the total number of drivers, in this case the total number of inspections needed for this level of production. So 6,500 units of brill, 3 inspections, and then 8,000 grates, 5 inspections, gives me a cost per driver of £1.20 per inspection. And then I can multiply that back into the cost unit. So brill, 3 inspections, £3.60 then, and 5 inspections to make each unit of grate, multiply by the £1.20, £6. And then I'm just going to add these overheads to the direct cost per unit to find the total cost per unit, which is the answer to the question. I have here then another question, this time Hopton Limited. You might decide to pause the video at this point and have a go at this one yourself, or you can stay with me and work through the question. So very, very similar. And again, I've set up my table ready with the 2 products, azure and bronze. And I start with the direct, and I can work out, this time it's in meters, but I can still easily work it out. So £10.50, £12.10. Direct labour, only 45 minutes, just be a bit careful here then, 45 minutes at £16 per hour, so only 3/4 of an hour, so £12 of direct labour, 30 for bronze. There's my total direct cost per unit, and then I can set about working out the cost per drivers to be able to assign the overheads. Machine setup overhead, so workings, so again on the top of the formula is the cost pool, divided by the total number of setups, gets me £3.30 per setup, and then multiply that back into my cost units. And then finally, the health and safety overhead, the number of inspections has been determined as the cost driver, and it's the same principle, 4,662 is the cost pool, divided by the total number of inspections, gets me a cost per driver of 60 pence per inspection, multiply it back, and then total the overheads onto the direct cost, and there's my total cost per unit for each product. I hope you found this video useful. Please do remember to subscribe, like, share the video, and follow us on Twitter @AccountingHow.